So thank you for joining. This is one of our PPMA series of webinars highlighting or showcasing the winners of our various awards. Today's awards that we're showcasing is the Best Inclusion Diversity Programme. That was won by the councils of Sutton and Kingston. They work very closely together. And it's my pleasure to let you hear from colleagues from those councils, and they will introduce themselves when they come on to explain what they did and how it was that they their submission was impressed the judges and why we selected them as our winner for the PPMA Award. Anyway, without further ado, I'll hand you over to Kingston Sutton colleagues. I'm not sure if it's Nisha or Emily going to start off. Anyway, over to you.
Thank you, Steve. We'll just start by introducing ourselves. My name's Emily Neese, and I'm the Assistant Director for HR and Organisational Development at Sutton Council.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Dawn Matthews. I'm Head of HR Shared and Traded Services at Sutton and Kingston Councils.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nisha Porter, Head of HR and Organisational Development at Sutton.
And hello, good afternoon. My name is Sharon Howes and I'm Head of HR and OD at Kingston Borough Council.
So we're delighted to be here today to talk to you about the transformation that has been driven in both Sutton and Kingston through our approach to equality, diversity and inclusion. The EDI agenda has long been important to both boroughs, but having listened to staff following the tragic deaths of George Floyd, Sarah Everard, Nicole Smallman and Bieber Henry, Kingston and Sutton councils jointly focused attention to develop, embed and advance a thorough commitment to diversity and inclusion, focusing on race and gender. Today, we're going to describe for you our focus for our staff and our communities. And the key outcome for us is that now our staff believe that our organisations prioritise EDI and are acting on it. Both councils have worked jointly with strong commitment and full engagement from senior leaders, from our trade unions, from our staff networks, from our councillors and staff across our leadership teams. All have supported this approach and made personal commitments to model and be allies and champions of change. We're not complacent in this and we know there's still work to do, but as part of understanding our impact, we'll be able to talk to you today about the change that we've made so far. The Kingston and Sutton HR and Shared Service has developed, delivered, monitored and evaluated a comprehensive diversity and inclusion programme while working collaboratively with our staff networks. This has had a significant impact on our workforce. We've used strong engagement, workforce metrics and staff surveys to measure the impact. Our action plans have taken a three-pronged approach to reviewing our policies and systems to make sure that they're inclusive, supporting our staff and allies in being confident to challenge poor behaviour where they see it, and making sure that action is taken. And finally, celebrating our role models, awareness days, heritage and history. Thinking about this across the employee life cycle, our first area of focus was to look at how we could improve the way that we attract our diverse talent and the recruitment experience for candidates. And I'll hand over to Dawn.
Thank you, Emily. Across both councils, we're making a difference for our existing and future workforce. Some of the things that we are doing is reverse mentoring that now links our most senior leaders with a mentor who shares their lived experience both personally and in the workplace. We have had positive feedback from our reverse mentees, including, "This was an incredibly worthwhile experience. I hope this initiative continues." We've also had encouraging feedback from our mentors, such as, "It is a great chance to be able to speak about challenging issues like equality and diversity. It's a safe space." Well, building on the review of our recruitment practice, we've implemented diverse interview panels, drawing on a pool of reverse mentors and staff network members to ensure equality and that all candidates are assessed fairly. We've rolled out a more focused mandatory training programme for all staff and agency workers, which includes diversity and inclusion in the workplace and unconscious bias. Anonymous recruitment is used to eliminate bias and ensure applicants are shortlisted purely on merit. And we've reviewed our recruitment material, ensuring language used throughout is inclusive, promotes our commitment to diversity, flexible working, and recognising and celebrating our staff networks. We've also embarked on a recruitment and retention project, which focused on the end-to-end recruitment process and the entire employee life cycle. Equality, diversity and inclusion, has been a feature of this project, using our evidence base to enhance the attraction and retention of Black, Asian and multi-ethnic individuals. Stakeholder engagement has been key to the success of the programmes. We have been proactive in developing trust within our workforce through listening with curiosity and our genuine commitment to change in order to understand and identify our strengths, issues and barriers that our staff experience. We use a wide variety of methods to hear from our workforce, such as live streams, some of which are hosted by our chief executives in each borough, focus groups, staff surveys and staff network meetings. We amplify the voices of women and multi-ethnic staff by sharing their experiences within our councils. Sutton and Kingston have worked jointly with strong commitment and full engagement from our most senior leadership teams, members, the HR service, trade unions and staff networks. They've all supported this approach and made personal and ongoing commitments to model and be champions of the programme. We've also worked hard to understand individuality, to adopt a more mindful approach to accommodating employees' individual needs, given that these are unique for everyone. We have introduced a joint cultural competency programme for all managers and continue to engage and encourage honest and open two-way conversations. We have total sponsorship from the corporate management team and senior leadership teams in both councils. The Chief Executive of Sutton sponsors the monthly Race Equality Working Group to review progress against the action plan. And the Chief Executive of Kingston sponsors the Women's Network. And they have both shared their own personal experiences across both councils and across the region. Reports are provided to our corporate management team and senior leadership teams on a quarterly basis to give immediate oversight of progress. Now I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Nisha.
Thank you. And colleagues, what you'll see now on your screen is an array of all of the activities that we've delivered over the last couple of years. So we've responded to staff, national and international events. We've amplified the voices of women and Black, Asian and multi-ethnic staff by championing and sharing experiences. Together, we have collectively committed to a challenging agenda and ensured that engagement, metrics and staff surveys have been at the heart of measuring our success. Our workforce tells us that it feels different, and I think that's really important. Our data tells us one story, but how does it feel to actually work in our organisations? EDI is a part of our DNA and our collective language. Since May 2021, we've co-delivered across our boroughs and with our staff networks a variety of initiatives to continue to listen to our workforce and raise awareness. Examples include we have delivered 3 staff surveys. We're currently waiting for our 3rd survey results, which have included specific questions of the experiences of equality and diversity in our workforce. We've rolled out a mandatory learning programme for managers to support leaders in confidently having conversations about race. We've called these uncomfortable truths and uncomfortable conversations. We've delivered a cultural competency learning programme for our leaders and managers. We've worked with our Black, Asian and multi-ethnic networks to deliver year on year a coordinated series of events and information to mark Race Equality Week in February and Black History Month in October, and we share this across both boroughs. Focusing specifically on Kingston for 2023, 4 videos are featured during Black History Month, asking people across Kingston and our communities, what does Black History Month mean to them? with a member of the Black, Asian and Multi-Ethnic Staff Network featuring in the video. The Black, Asian and Multi-Ethnic Staff Network have also delivered an event called Black History. There's been a wide range of events across Kingston libraries with displays showing of documentaries, discussions and showcase events. And during last week's Hate Crime Week, colleagues have shared their own personal stories. Taking a look into Sutton for 2023, as colleagues will know, the theme for this year's Black History Month is saluting our sisters. We are celebrating pioneering women connected with Sutton. We've held diverse workforce sessions, sharing our equalities data and running our interactive Wheel of Power and Privilege. This session explores how we can use our power and our privilege to advocate for others. We've had an intersectional focus on health, well-being and safety, World Menopause Day, men's well-being as part of World Mental Health Day, and National Hate Crime Awareness. All of these events have incorporated race as an intersectional focus. And I'll tell you what I'm really excited about for this week. We're going to have a carnival-themed celebration in our civic office. We'll have a keynote speaker sharing the history of the carnival, and I'm certainly looking forward to tasting the array of food, hearing the sound of steel pans playing, and celebrating the richness of Black culture this Black History Month. Handing over to Sharon.
Thank you, Nisha. Okay. So having heard all of this, we've also heard from many women, and having held joint sessions with the women's networks across both councils, we are proud of the following actions we've implemented. We have committed to engage with boys and men to end violence against women and girls as part of the White Ribbon accreditation. We have several male ambassadors, including those at our most senior levels. In joint partnership with the Community Safety Team, Police and Specialist Service, on White Ribbon Day, both boroughs held events and talked with communities about action being taken and how they can get involved. Kingston installed white paper flowers on the stairs of the Guildhall, each flower representing a woman who had been killed by a man. Sutton has a memorial bench in Trinity Square to honour the victims of male violence. So our communications set out very clearly an expectation of zero tolerance and provide ways to challenge attitudes and behaviours. We actively promote our council's support for victims of domestic abuse. There's information on women's reproductive health, and this has been updated and a wellbeing plan developed and launched, including tips for staff to hold a sensitive communication and conversation. Kingston have signed up to Bloody Good Period, and Sutton have trained menopause champions and provide free period products in our toilets. We are empowering our managers to support female colleagues around their health issues, including reproductive health. We will see with our networks we have produced and promoted inclusive language and allyship guides and active bystander toolkits. Our HR team have held confidential listening sessions to give staff space and a safe place to explain and resolve any issues they have. These are sometimes difficult and important things for us to support and challenge. And I'd like to hand over to Emily.
Thank you, Sharon. EDI is part of our core language and our focus in both councils now. We have messages around diversity in our councils every single week, whether that be through live streams, network sessions, emails, or an event programme. Since implementing our anonymous recruitment system in March 2021, 60% of our applicants now are from a multi-ethnic background in both boroughs. This represents an increase of 15% for Sutton and 21% for Kingston. Of those applicants, now 48% appointed in Sutton and 36 appointed in Kingston come from a multi-ethnic background. We have moved to an inclusive approach to EDI in recognition that all the protected characteristics are part of everyone, and we all need to feel supported and confident to be our whole selves at work and to help us to deliver at our best. Our programme includes confidential racial trauma support, trans guidance, tailored support for those who are care experienced, supported internships and work experience opportunities, We also focus on support and awareness raising around neurodiversity for our staff and our residents. Nisha, over to you.
Thanks, Emily. So in Sutton, our workforce data on the 31st of March 2023, 59% of the female workforce earns over 50,000. That's an increase of 8% from 2020. The number of multi-ethnic employees earning over 50,000 has increased by 8% over the last 3 years to 22% as of the 31st of March 2023. 60% of our appointments in the top 3 tiers at Sutton in 2023 have been from our very talented multi-ethnic leaders. The Kingston workforce is 59% women with a 0 gender pay gap and 52.9% of females earning over 50,000. 33% of the borough is from a Black, Asian and multi-ethnic community, and 26.6% of the 6% of the workforce, which is a 4% increase from 2020, with 18.7% of Black, Asian and multi-ethnic staff earning over 50,000. We have proactively increased engagement, awareness, and equality and diversity is an organisational priority. In both councils, these were the 3 highest scoring questions in our December 2021 staff survey, with 85% agreeing that we set high standards for the work that we deliver to our residents and our customers. My managers treat everyone fairly with dignity and respect, and my team and colleagues treat everyone fairly with dignity and respect with our 3 top highest scoring results. Back over to you, Sharon.
Thank you, Nisha. So we are proud that our work is focused on our engagement with our communities too, demonstrating our commitment across all the equality characteristics and that they are embedded in the community development work we do. There is strong visible commitment in ways you might expect and more to tackle inequalities. We fly flags in support for Black Lives Matter and Pride. We work with our communities to celebrate their heritage with celebration events at Eid and Diwali. We have held a programme of activities during Race Equality Week, LGBTQI+, History Month, and took part in a Pan-London Women's Network launch for International Women's Day. We are proud to be disability confident committed. We develop, retain and recruit disabled people and support them in work through our strong disability and wellbeing network and inclusive ability network. Their voices really do inform and influence our progress, and they get to work in a supported staff community with allies. We also signed the Time for Change pledge and formed a Time to Change hub, aiming to end negative attitudes and stigma towards people experiencing mental health issues. Both officers and councils are trained at mental health champions to enable appropriate wellbeing conversations with colleagues as well as our wider community. We promote courses run by adult education providers to help build resilience, and by acknowledging a range of conditions and disabilities, we overcome stigma and share stories. Kingston Council hosted local group events such as Disability Awareness Day to raise awareness of the barriers faced by disabled people visiting Kingston Town Centre. The Chief Executive and councillors committed to better understand their experiences of wheelchair users and those visually impaired through a stimulated trip around town. This prompted a letter to all retailers asking them to address accessibility gaps. Building on the engagement work achieved in 2021 with our Black, Asian and multi-ethnic backgrounds in our Cambridge Road estate to improve accessibility, as well as the feedback received for Community Leisure Centre, both those facilities and housing could be accessible and attractive for many more residents to enjoy. We provide highly visible support and recognition for our ex-armed forces personnel and train our teams on the importance of this, from assisting them gain work to helping them assess support to reduce risks of suicide and marginalisation, not just remembering on Armistice Day. We think of our younger and older residents. In education, Kingston has created an extra 42 specialist school places and opened overnight short break facilities to improve the local send offer for families. There is a day centre for Tamil and Korean elders, which provides a lifeline for people as old as 95 learning new ways of tackling isolation. Our Korean community will be celebrated with Recognition Day in November 2023. All of this work is centred around the 4 pillars of our Inclusive Kingston strategy to champion an inclusive borough, developed in co-design with a community, and is one of few councils nationally that funds a local race and equalities council. We have a Kingston Partnership Board and charter to define our work with local businesses and partners alongside volunteer agencies. You also see our staff network representatives within our community supporting awareness of hate crime and with a calendar of events to show solidarity to cultural awareness and being ambassadors for our EDI work. I've enjoyed sharing with you the impact and the efforts of my colleagues in Kingston. Without them, these changes would not be achieved. Nisha will now tell you more about the work in the community at Sutton.
Thanks, Sharon. So Sutton Council also works closely with partner agencies and the voluntary community sector to promote EDI in the community, addressing discrimination and inequality. The council sponsors Community Action Sutton, a multi-agency forum which identifies and investigates issues and holds the council and other partners responsible for taking action. The Sutton Fairness Commission was established in 2017 as the vehicle for scrutinising equalities issues in Sutton. The first area of focus was that of the experiences of children and young people, addressing issues in education around racism and the curriculum. The Commission has worked with schools and school governors to make changes. A good example of this is Glenthorne High School in Sutton, which featured in the 2020 Channel 4 TV series as the school that tried to end racism. In January 2020, the Commission agreed to investigate the experiences of Black, Asian and multi-ethnic communities in Sutton. This is an action-based approach, bringing the community, the council, education, police and health together. The Commission used storytelling to get an understanding of what it feels like for Black, Asian and multi-ethnic community members who live in Sutton. This meeting has taken place every Friday since June 2020, with up to 70 people representing their organisation. This group is delivering the recommendations of the Racial Justice in Sutton report, holding themselves to account. Young people fed into this group, and the police have worked in partnership to understand the impact of stop and search. And as a result, a youth independent advisory group has been established to work with the police. Visual indicators of the diverse heritage of Sutton's communities have been produced with a diversity mural in partnership with communities, schools, libraries and local artists to celebrate this. Alongside this, the council developed a children's social care anti-racist practice guide in 2021 for our staff and have developed an inclusive language guide with staff networks, which were launched in January 2022. I'm now going to hand over to Dawn. Thank you.
Thank you, Nisha. So in conclusion, this is not just a story of keeping up with events around the world. Sutton and Kingston have worked from the top down and the bottom up to shake up and rebuild our workforce approach. The success of this can be seen in buy-in right to the top of the organisation, huge progress in recruitment and retention, staff and community satisfaction and best practice across 2 London boroughs, rich with diversity. Equality, diversity and inclusion is fundamental to what we do and the way we go about working together and delivering services to our communities. This work is integral to our success in both boroughs. It has impacted our staff and given them the confidence to bring their whole self to work. Together, we have focused on a deeper understanding of culture across more than 600 council services in 2 London boroughs and making a positive impact on the communities that we serve. We haven't shied away from difficult conversations or been defensive. We've taken an intersectional approach to see our colleagues as a whole people and to allow them to be their true selves at work. This work is a cornerstone of our workforce activity, and we continue to develop and build on this. We have been asked whether this approach is sustainable, And our answer is a resounding yes. It is built into our HR and OD work plans, our corporate plans. We have commitment from our senior leadership teams and members, and we are happy to work with and to be held to account by our staff and communities. Both councils have clear equality, diversity and inclusion plans, and we work together and on our individual areas of focus to continue this positive trajectory. Thank you so much for listening.
Wow. Okay, that's fantastic. So I'm sure all of you that were listening today would appreciate all the work that Kingston and Sutton have done over the last few years. Really impressive programs, really sort of driving inclusivity, diversity, with intersectional bents as well, towards improving diversity across not just the council but in their communities. So well worthy winners, I think, of our PPMA award this last year. So we've got a little bit of time for some questions. Don't know if we've got any questions. If you can raise your hand, or if you want to put something in the chat. We've got Lorna. Raise your hand, Lorna.
Hi, thanks for that. It's incredible the amount of work that you have done. I'm just picking up on something that was in your PowerPoint, and it was about the manager's workshop for menopause. I just wondered if you had any more details on what that consisted of, and was it mandatory for managers, or was it just like a drop-in? How do you do that?
I'm happy to respond to this one, if that's okay. So we've been working with Laura Churin, who is, she delivers for the company Women of a Certain Stage, and she's partnered with us over the last couple of years to deliver workshops which have featured a variety of different focus points. So she was with us last week, Monday, where she focused on the impact of menopause around our health indicators and how it may be different in terms of from an intersectional lens. She's delivered menopause champions training as well for Sutton. So it's an ongoing relationship, and we don't mandate it. What we do is ensure that it's advertised well in advance, so managers, staff can attend these sessions, and we've had good traction. So our last webinar before last Monday, we had over 200 colleagues attend that live webinar. So we've definitely seen an increase awareness across the council. Sharon, did you want to add? Because you came off, yeah. Okay.
Yes, yeah. Thank you, Nisha. Yeah, ours is about to take place this month. There's another workshop, but no, it's not mandatory, Lorna. But like Nisha says, it's really trying to maximise the capacity in our organisations that people go, and then there's word of mouth, spreading that wider about what people have heard, and then we follow up with communications beyond there. Great question.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Lorna, and the responses. Any other questions for the minute? Doesn't look like it. I think that's probably because everybody's stunned, thinking, okay, what can we usefully ask about, apart from getting more information in terms of everything you've done? So, yeah, fantastic program that you've been doing, and obviously you're keeping it up, which I think you've embedded it, which is what you've explained, that, you know, this is just part of your DNA now. So it's making it part of your business as usual, if you like, which I think really emphasises the benefits of the program that you've developed and how you're sort of pushing it forward. So these, obviously, you'll appreciate we're recording this. This webinar will be widely available. So we did have a number of attendees today, but it will come out, be published, and be part of our PPMA webinar series for people to download. So I'm sure anybody that tunes in will be really impressed by the work that you've done at Kingston and Sutton. So I just want to say thank you very much for people joining us. Thank you very much for your presentation. Very slick, obviously well rehearsed there. Everybody knew their lines. Fantastic. Well done. Okay. Thank you all for listening.